go ahead and get started with BI. Andrew, you can lead us off, please.
Hey, Brandon. Overall, now, I guess, what are your, I guess, of the shortened, but what are your overall takeaways from how the preseason went? Just with everything going, being installed and going, things like that.
But we got a chance to self-assess ourselves against two other teams in the league. Of course, some of their star players weren't playing, but um, we saw how practice carried over to games and the things we can work on, the things we actually did well in the preseason games, and we can actually watch film and go into practice in the next few days before for the games that count, and see what we can do better before we start.
Hey, Brandon, Rod Walker here with the Winola.com. What have you seen as the biggest differences in Zion from this time last year to where he is now? And the second part of that is just kind of going back to your rookie season to your second season. What was like the biggest improvements and strides you tried to make?
Well, I think the difference in Zion is maybe his body. I think he's always going to be the same player. He's always going to be dominant, a force around the basket, and always making really, really good plays on the offense and defensive end. I think on the defensive end, he's shown improvement where in practice he's really getting after it, trying to make a transition and playing really good in the pick and roll and being good in the low man spots and being just good defensively all around. I think from my rookie year to now, I've just grown confidence in every aspect of the basketball game on the offense and defensive end. And I'm getting to learn different things that make my life easier on the basketball floor and when I come in every single day.
Hey Brandon, Christian Clark here with NOLA.com. When you kind of just look back at some of those fouls last night, did it seem like some of them were preventable? What did you just kind of see there?
Well, I actually didn't look at the film last night, but of course, I think with fouling like that, whenever I'm in foul trouble like that, I think it's all in my positioning. All in me just getting ready before the play, me being ready in all aspects of the game on the offense and defensive end, and not being so frustrated, not mentally taking myself out of the game. I think I'll save that film for another time, but I know exactly what I can do better in the next day.
Brandon, I guess kind of along the same lines of asking you about Zion. You've been close with Zoe for a while. He had one of it looked like his better overall games in terms of being aggressive, shooting. JJ mentioned that he likes to tell him to shoot the ball whenever he's open. Stan is talking to him about shooting the ball. What do you tell him? Or do you talk to him in the course of the game, or do you kind of save it for after of making him be aggressive throughout?
Well, I encourage him pretty much every single day. If we're going over 5-0, whatever we're doing, just whenever I'm passing the basketball, I actually tell him to shoot the basketball. So when he gets in the game, it just becomes second nature. He's not a normal catch and shoot basketball player, so it's kind of different. He's usually put the basketball on the floor. So he knows in the catch and shoot that it makes our team better, especially for spacing and especially for guys to get downhill, for myself, for Bled, for Zion. So it's important for him to catch and shoot. I think last night was very encouraging for him, being aggressive and getting the shots that he wanted in our offense, and hopefully that can continue to flow.
What's up, BI? This is Will from the Athletic. I know you always talk about wanting to improve on defense and how important that's going to be for the team. But just for you individually, what areas do you feel like you need to get better, just from your first year with the Pels to this year, just to make a big impact on that end?
Just being everywhere that I need to be. I'd just say positioning, being in the right spots at the right time, ready to defend with a stick hand, moving my feet, being there for the guy on the low man, and having my teammates back. I think just being everywhere on the floor and just trying to affect the game.
Hey, this is Jim from Pelicans.com. Griff, in the brief offseason, talked about how one of the goals that he had for the team was to bring in more ferocious competitors, was the two-word term that he used. What did you think of what Adams and Bledsoe have brought? For example, last night they had a play where they both were on the floor at the same time, diving for a loose ball, and it just seems like they have brought a lot of intensity.
Well, they bring really, really good things to the floor. They're very professional in everything that they do. And Steve is a really, really big guy, which he has like an identity in this league. And whenever one faces against him, he knows the strongest guy in the league. We know exactly what we're going to get out of him every single night, and that's good to have. The same thing with Bledsoe. We know exactly what we'll get out of both of those guys every single night, and to have two professionals in the locker room that sacrifice their bodies, be really, really good on the defensive end, and do whatever it takes on the offensive end. It's really exciting for the team.
Hey, Brandon, this is Rod Walker again. I was actually going to ask you about Steven Adams. Jim asked that already, but what's he sort of like just in the locker room, and what has he sort of brought to this team off the court, you feel like, so far? Just what's his personality been like?
He's been good. He's a really good guy. He's just been in the locker room just trying to advise all the big men on the things that he knows on the floor. Just giving them little pointers. He's helped a lot of guys on the wings with positionings on screens and just different things. He's always a voice in our locker room, or a voice on the basketball floor when we need something.
Any funny stories about him yet?
He's a funny guy, period. So everything that comes out of his mouth, I think we know Stan has long practice. He's always messing with Stan. When Stan says we have just one more thing to do, and it's like 15 more things. So he's always messing with Stan.